Okay, so good day once again, everyone who's listening and tuned in to Career Chats with Mel. Today I have an exciting guest who is known as Duncan, Duncan Masiwa. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name and surname correctly, but feel free to correct me. And I'm just honored that you carved out some time to hop on here with me and to share your story. I think it's going to be an exciting story that I think a lot of you will take something from it today. And so, without any further ado, Duncan, welcome and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Melissa. It's honored. I'm honored to be here. I love the platform that you've established in introducing various career opportunities to our young people, and just to find out, what are the options that are out there. So I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll just jump straight into it. And so I just wanted for you to share a little bit about where you grew up, and what were some of the challenges or some of the exciting things or the highlights that you want to share about that part of your life, growing up where you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm born and bred in a small town called Makassar. For people that don't know, that's somewhere in Somerset West. And for up until now, Makassar is the only town that I know in terms of being raised there, growing up there. My friends are all here. I went church here. I always say I was born in church because at some point all I knew was church. And this is where I grew up. Makassar, one of those communities not without its challenges. What we all know, the drug abuse, the alcohol abuse, gang-related incidents. It's nothing different to what many other communities in Cape Town, you would know, being from Lavendale, that that we go through. But I think I'm one of those people. I think I consider myself one of the lucky ones to understand that even though you're born into a deurmekaar gemeenskap, that you don't have to be that deurmekaar person. There's always better for you out there. And I think I always consider myself lucky that I always knew that there was something better for me. I always realized that there was something better for me, even though I was surrounded by the abuse and the mediocrity. Because let's face it, we come from communities that they are so comfortable with being, just okay and just being average, and we're just trying to, take the day or survive, I suppose. And I always knew, thank God, I also surrounded myself with friends that also instilled in me the desire to be more than what I saw around me. So yeah, Makassar. I have two lovely parents, Mirka and Margaret, and then I also have older sibling, Kathleen Ann. She's my older sister, and of course I'm the baby.
There's lots of things that come with being the baby, but we won't get into that. So I discovered you through my niece, and she really wanted me to talk to you on this channel because I think she's so inspired as a young person herself with the work that you do. And so I know that it perhaps didn't come as easy for you to discover that career pathway, and that's being sort of in the journalism and agriculture aspects. And I want you to tell us a little bit about, when you were in high school, like, how did you even discover that there is a career to be made out of journalism, but also I think how you've merged the agriculture aspect to that? Where did it start for you? Like, how did you get into deciding even to go that way?
First of all, I knew from somewhere. You are Liesel's sister. Yes, you guys you definitely look alike.
I'm the baby too. That's I'm the baby too.
Awesome. So back to your question. So for me, high school was I I didn't pass well matriculating from high school. I got so close to actually failing matric. I was one of those crazy students that thought that they would be able to master maths pure, and I never did. I failed maths all through high school. And the teachers told me, you know, Duncan, don't you want to change to math literacy? Wiskundige geletterdheid is. Don't you want to change? And I said, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try. I failed maths all through high school. Luckily, towards my grade 12, I passed accounting, which was also a difficult subject for me. But I passed that, and I passed all my other subjects. And of course, I wasn't obviously able to matriculate, but I failed maths. Yeah. So, you know, when you, the reason why I'm saying that, when you do pass with a report that is, slightly under, what's the word I'm looking for? It's in terms of your, yeah, exactly. So your immediately your options are less, what you can do after. So I couldn't necessarily apply for what I wanted to do, study at the university, which at the time was media studies. So I had to look at other options. What then happened was I found myself venturing into the hospitality industry. And I did a course with a in-service program with a hotel brand called Charles. That didn't work out, but I found myself, going deeper into the hospitality industry. Eventually, I resigned from the hospitality. The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because my journey hasn't been quite conventional in terms of going to varsity and studying, and then landing myself in a career which I'm doing now. So I ventured into hospitality industry. Then I decided, you know what, this is, as much as I love it, as much as I love, being around people and, making them feel welcome at the hotel and enjoying their experiences. It's not what I wanted to do. And I've always had, a passion for poetry. I write poetry, and that's where my gift for writing started. And I told myself, I will actually want to give this thing a chance. I want to give my writing aspirations a chance. And I remember I went to work one morning, 6 o'clock. So obviously hospitality industry, crazy hours. You start like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I remember going to work one morning in Cape Town, and I got to work, and I arrived to work, and I told my boss, this is my last day. And not only is this my last day, I'm going home now. So you can say again.
A minute notice.
Minute notice. So you can imagine I'm arriving at work 6 o'clock, and my boss arrives. I think it was 7 o'clock that he arrived. I'm telling him, I'm not only am I leaving, not only am I done, but I'm leaving now. And obviously he was trying to, stop me from making one of the biggest mistakes, according to him, in my life. And I resigned that day with 89 Rand in my bank account. I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to pursue my aspirations for being a writer. I resigned, and 2 weeks later, a friend of mine who was working on a documentary for SABC3, and it was about artists, and two of the guests that they had on the show was Theodore Jantjies, who's obviously used to be on Siemdelaan, Zander Menkes, and then Maurice Page, who used to be on another show on SABC3 that I can't remember now. But say again?
Dingo, I think.
Yes, it's a Dingo. And they were also featured, but they were speaking Afrikaans in the interview. So my friend called me, listen, I need you to translate this for me. I don't understand Afrikaans, please translate for me. So this is God, right? 2 weeks after resigning from hospitality, I'm asked to work on to do translations on an episode, on 2 episodes that aired on SABC3. I have no experience whatsoever. I've never studied at that point in time. at that point in time, that was the only person that I knew in the in entertainment industry or TV industry, right? 2 weeks after that, I started writing for our local community newspaper, which is the District Mail.
Wow.
And nothing special. It was just writing motivational pieces, columns, right? That I did every second week. And that's how I immersed myself into the newspaper industry, you know, into the media industry by just writing little columns. Never, at that point, I also hadn't studied before. I had no training whatsoever. I just had this gift that I knew that I wanted to make use of. Started doing that, and eventually I told myself, okay, listen, Duncan, you need to now somehow back this up with some kind of qualification. And also nothing fancy. I did a 6-month online course with the South African magazine college, the Writers College. Nothing fancy, like I said, it's just a certificate. They take you through the basics of writing, understanding how to put an intro together, understanding what a heading should look like, understanding how to interview people, all of those basic things that I had not obviously had done. So I did that, and I think from there on, my journey in the media industry just progressed. I found myself at the company that I currently work at now, which is Food for Mzansi, which is an agricultural publication, online publication. And even now, I'm currently also studying at Frey College, which is in Johannesburg. And it's just been amazing how my journey, you know, how my journey has been, because I don't have a diploma, I don't have a degree. All I have is one certificate behind my name. And I am the editor, the news editor of one of the biggest agricultural publications in South Africa. I cannot credit anyone but God.
Wow.
But God.
And I think I just want to highlight, you know, some of the things that you're mentioning to our young people that's listening. And I kept on wanting to have somebody on the platform that didn't necessarily, like you say, go through the traditional after matric, you have to study. And then after that, you find your job. And I think it's settled after that. And here we have Duncan's story explaining exactly that just recognizing the gift, but also what you're good at, and to harness those. And maybe it wasn't a perfect thought out writing, but he just knew he was good with words and pushed himself with what he could do, you know, and what was in his hand at the moment. And in this week, I also just spoke to somebody who just used what was in their hand and what they were passionate about. And I think the money followed. You know, like you're saying, God took care of the rest. He just said, you know, this person is really intentional about using the talent that I've given him. And so I'm going to take care of him and make sure that he's not going to go hungry at the end of the day, because he's so intentional about using the talent that is given to him. And I think that's just something I want to leave with someone, that you may be like, you're sitting with a report, you don't know which way to go, because like you feel like that is literally the end. Sitting with a bad matric report, wondering what's the next step. And perhaps the next step for you listening is just to look about what are you good at?
Exactly.
What can you use now, and just push all your energy toward that. So I think,
and that's the thing, Melissa, you know, success is not, it's not linear, it's not straight. You know, success is, it's a right turn here and it's a left turn here, and then you find yourself having to come back again only to find a different path. And I think that's how I describe my journey. I had to, my road on this journey to what we call success. It hasn't been, you know, go study at university, get your degree or your diploma, and then land your job that you've been studying. I am still studying this particular point. But what I realized, and this is what I want to leave with your viewers, is that just because failure does not have to mean the end. for you.
Yeah.
It could signal the beginning of something completely different. And I think when I look at my journey, speaking to you right now, it's that, you know, even though I hadn't passed matric that well, you know, technically I was probably supposed to end up in a retail shop somewhere. But you know, success doesn't have to be the linear or what we are used to, you know, or how do we define success in terms of going to university, going to college, and then landing my job. I am only studying now, but I'm already in the career that I want to be.
And you like you said, your words were saying you just needing to get the papers just to just to
back it up. Because the paper is gonna get you the money. The paper is gonna get you the money.
It's gonna keep some people quiet that may use that against you.
Yeah.
That you're not technically paper qualified for the job.
Yeah.
But I just love that. It's basically in essence saying, even if it's not on paper that you qualified, but when it comes to the job and when it comes to you, like I say, using your talent, you're so intentional about that. And I think that is why I think people gravitate towards that. And I think they can see the intention behind what they're doing. I actually just, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to just ask this question before we end off with some advice for people who might want to get into this. I want to ask, is there any highlight for you that if you think back about your short career that you've had now so far, is there any moment that you like, sure, that one will always be top of mind for me when I think about my journey so far? Like, is there any career highlight that you want to share with us?
There is so many, and I almost want to get teary-eyed because I just think about how God has been so center of this entire journey of mine. But if I had to highlight one specific one, is that where I got to lead a national citizen journalism training program. So basically, what citizen journalism is, it's the concept of using ordinary members of society to tell their own community stories, and then putting that on a national platform, especially if you look at it from a sense of going into those deep rural communities, where mainstream media, the big media guys or the big media publications don't always necessarily go to or get to, due to various reasons, of course. But giving those people the opportunity, to tell their stories, and getting it the attention that it obviously deserves. So what we did was, through the company that I work for, Food from Mzansi, we trained over 60 citizen journalists in various corners of the country. And myself, having no experience whatsoever, but just my skills and the expertise that I had built up over the years, I got to lead that program. And it was truly an amazing journey. As much as though the 60 students got to learn, and from the program, I also got to learn from their experiences. And that's been definitely one of my biggest highlights. It was also documented by Google. They came to Google London, they came to South Africa to document this entire thing, and obviously just go through what we did with the students. So that's definitely one of my highlights.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's almost as if, just listening to you describe the project, it's almost as if your story was multiplied by 60.
Yeah.
And it's such a goosebump moment. I'm sitting here, I'm getting goosebumps just like listening to them describing how, it's amazing.
It was definitely a beautiful moment for me in my career. One of those things that it comes back to what you're saying. You may think that you are unqualified, and I'm sorry if your platform is not as religious, but God qualifies you, even though you deem yourself, or the world out there deems yourselves unqualified. And this is just something that I want to leave with your audience, is that you have a skill, and the world will always want your skill. And you should not, listen to those voices in your head that tell you, no, I'm not good enough or I'm not qualified. Because you have a skill, something that people want to use. That is your door into whatever it is that you want to achieve, and that will always be the thing that will keep on opening doors for you. I was speaking at a valedictory ceremony the other day. Is that yes, you have your skill, you have your talent, you have your degree or qualification, whatever it may be, but those are the things that will only open the door for you. What will keep the doors open for you is your integrity, is your humility, and how you treat people. People will forget what you told them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And then that is something that I've always carried through in my entire journey, is integrity and humility. And those are the things that will keep on opening doors for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I need to ask the last question, which is advice, because I think you've just captured it so beautifully in this, like simplicity of it, but in the simpleness of that sentence, I think it's so deep, and that it doesn't, definitely living by integrity. Once people throw things at you, it's easy to sway. It's easy to say yes to things that perhaps will even take you away from being integrity, from displaying integrity, and to live by integrity. If you feel like you want to say yes to some things because perhaps that's where the money is, and that's the thing. But I think what you're saying is, if you stay true to who you are, it will keep the doors open.
Keep the doors open. I find myself, and it comes back to we were talking earlier off camera. We were talking about imposter syndrome, and that's something that I've had to struggle with. Finding myself in these big platforms, speaking to people that I'm technically not supposed to be speaking to according to the qualifications that I don't have. But even with that, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. The imposter syndrome. Even though you find yourself in these spaces, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be there. It comes back to your skill and your talent, and those are the things that will you carry you through your journey.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, there's probably lots and lots and lots more that we can touch on, but I just want to keep this short and sweet, really, so that those of you who are listening just captures the importance of Duncan's story. And so I want to end off by asking, if there's people that are into agriculture or want to rather pursue something in that direction, and also perhaps in the direction of writing, what are some of the tools, or perhaps, like you said, I think I'm going to type in that college short course that you did, so that we can direct people there if they want to look into that. What are some of the other tips that you may have for somebody that is quite keen?
Yeah. So from a journalistic perspective, I would say start writing. What I did. I started sending in columns, motivational columns, to my local community newspaper, and that was sort of my foot into the door. People started, obviously, the publication that you work with, they then start taking notes of you, and they become aware of Duncan. And with that also, you are sort of top of mind in terms of, okay, we have Duncan in Makassar. If something happens in Makassar, we can send Duncan to do that. So don't wait to get your qualification. Start writing now, and be willing to work for free. I always say, be willing to inconvenience yourself, especially if you are starting out. Be willing to inconvenience yourself in pursuit of your goal or what it is that you want to achieve. Sometimes we're not willing to, for things to get uncomfortable. We want comfort all the time. But if something is really important to you, you will be willing enough to, you know, find yourself in uncomfortable positions in pursuit of something bigger and better. So be willing to work for free, especially in the beginning. I'm not advocating people to work for free. I'm just saying, be willing to, you know, do something for free, especially when you're starting out. That's journalistic. Read, always read. You cannot be a journalist if you do not consume news. Consume local news, consume international news, but read, and always be curious about what is happening around you, so that you are informed and have an understanding of what is happening. So journalistic, that side. And then agriculture, oh my gosh, agriculture has become my second love, apart from journalism. I hope to be a farmer one day. I'm putting it out there into the air. I think agriculture, surround yourself with people that are doing it. Surround yourself with local farmers in your community. Be willing to go and work on a weekend on someone's farm, you know, just to learn the tricks of the trade. And again, you know, be willing to do it for free. If it's something that is important to you and you just want to get an understanding of how it works, be willing to do it for free. And yeah, read as much. I think with agriculture, what we've seen in the recent times is that you know, Google is your friend, and there's a lot of information that you can get on YouTube, and yeah, by doing internet researches. So just search up on it, agricultural space. We also have a platform called AgriCareers, www.agricareers.co.za. There's a list of careers in the agricultural space that you could possibly pursue. It's not just primary farming, you know, getting your hands dirty, milking a cow somewhere on a farm. You know, like me, I'm a journalist, but I'm in agriculture. You know, there's researchers in agriculture, there's accountants in agriculture, there's agronomists. There's so much to the agricultural space. So just do your research.
Oh, that's awesome. So I will be putting all of these things that Duncan mentioned in the description boxes, so you'll have some way to start. I think it's just a kickstart, really, if you are into this sort of thing. And like Duncan said, it's not your traditional farming. When we say agriculture, if I think about one of the girls I mentored a couple of years back, she wanted to do food science. She wanted to do that, but also then take her skill eventually onto a farm and use that sort of, I think in the winemaking industry, you also need, you know, some sort of degree if you can manage to do it that way. So I think the world is your oyster, really, when it even just comes to the thing of agriculture, if we want to block it there. But thank you so much for your time and for your energy and for just like your positivity, I think. And I think it's going to be an inspiring, you know, time for people just to reflect on some of the things that you've said. I think there are many nuggets that we can take away. And I think it would be such an impactful space and a time for whoever's listening, you know, just to take down some notes. Even if it's just the two things that Duncan said, love by integrity and humility, even if it's just that you took from this interview, then I think we did an okay job for today.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for having me. I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you so much.